Hello there, friends. Ever find yourself feeling a bit sluggish or foggy-headed first thing in the morning, even before the day's really got going? You know, that feeling where you just can't seem to shake off the tiredness, despite getting your usual hours of sleep. It's more common than you might think as we get a bit older. Well, today, we're going to talk about something incredibly simple, yet often overlooked, that could be the culprit. We're exploring why starting our day dehydrated is a common habit many of us fall into without realizing it, and how it directly affects our energy and well-being. Understanding this is key because even being just a little bit dehydrated can lead straight to that fatigue, brain fog, and even dizziness, making you feel worn out before you've even had your breakfast. If we ignore it day after day, it can contribute to persistent tiredness, those nagging headaches, and sometimes even unpleasant urinary tract infections. We certainly don't need any of that messing with our comfort and peace of mind. I remember my friend Arthur, he's 70-odd like me, always complaining about hitting a wall mid-morning. He started making just one tiny change. He began drinking a full glass of water right when he gets out of bed, before anything else, even his morning cuppa. He told me it made a world of difference, said he feels much sharper and more alert now. So in this video, we'll look at why that first glass of water is so important and how making it a habit can boost your energy levels throughout the day. If you find this chat helpful, do give the video a little thumbs up, it really helps. And please consider subscribing if you'd like more tips and chats like this for enjoying our golden years to the fullest. Alright, let's move on to something crucial: sleep. Not just getting some sleep, mind you, but getting enough deep, restorative rest. It's easy to brush off feeling a bit tired, but good quality sleep is when our body and brain truly repair themselves and recharge for the next day. When we skimp on that quality, we're essentially running on empty. It's no wonder we might feel groggy during the day, maybe a bit more irritable than usual, or find it hard to concentrate on things we enjoy, like reading or chatting with friends. Ignoring poor sleep isn't just about feeling tired either. It can have real consequences, even making chronic health issues like high blood pressure or diabetes harder to manage. Think about my neighbor Eleanor. She used to really struggle through the afternoons, just feeling completely wiped out, despite thinking she'd slept enough. She decided to make a change. She started setting a firm bedtime for herself, the same time every night, even on weekends. And, crucially, she turned off the television a full hour before hitting the pillow, opting for a book or some quiet music instead. She told me just last week how much better she feels in the mornings now, genuinely refreshed and ready for the day. It's made a world of difference for her energy levels. So, here's some practical advice. Try sticking to a regular sleep schedule as best you can. Your body loves routine, and create a calming bedtime ritual to signal to your brain that it's time to wind down. Maybe it's a warm bath, some light stretching, or just sitting quietly away from screens. Making that little effort can really pay off in how you feel all day long. You know, my walking buddy Frank was really feeling down in the dumps a while back. Said he just had no energy, felt sluggish all the time. He figured resting more, sitting in his favorite chair, would help him conserve what little energy he had. But it seemed to make things worse. We finally convinced him to join me for just a short walk each morning, nothing strenuous, just 15 or 20 minutes around the block at a decent pace. Well, blow me down, within a couple of weeks, he was like a new man. Said he felt brighter, had more pep in his step, and even his afternoon nap wasn't quite so long. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Sitting around all day actually drains us. It sounds backwards, but our bodies need to move to create energy. When we stay still for too long, our muscles get weak, our circulation slows right down, and everything just feels harder. It's that old saying, use it or lose it, and it's absolutely true, especially as we get older. Too much sitting isn't just about feeling tired either. It can lead to more serious problems down the line like heart trouble or diabetes, and makes us feel frailer. So, the trick is to break up those long spells on the sofa or at the computer. Try setting a little reminder to get up every hour or so. Just walk around the room, stretch your arms and legs a bit. Maybe do a few simple chair exercises while you're watching the telly. Even a short stroll outside can make a world of difference, just like it did for Frank. Little bits of movement throughout the day really add up. Something I've noticed, and maybe you have too, is how easy it is to skimp on protein, especially at breakfast or lunch. We grab a quick slice of toast or just a bowl of cereal, thinking it's enough to get us going. Take my friend Jane from the reading group. She used to complain about feeling quite drained by mid-afternoon. Just didn't have the get up and go she used to. She'd have her usual toast and jam in the morning. Well, she decided to try something different after we chatted about it. Started adding a couple of eggs or sometimes a good dollop of cottage cheese to her breakfast. The difference was quite remarkable, she said. She found she had much more staying power throughout the whole day, none of that afternoon slump. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders, you know. It's absolutely vital for us, especially as we get older, to help keep our muscles strong. Without enough of it, we risk losing muscle mass. They call it sarcopenia, which leads to feeling weaker and more tired. It also gives us that slow, steady energy release, much better than the quick burst and crash you get from sugary things. Not getting enough can really slow down recovery if you get sick, too. So, have a look at your meals. Are you getting a good source of protein in each one? It doesn't have to be complicated. Think about eggs, maybe some Greek yogurt, beans or lentils are wonderful, fish, chicken, even a bit of lean meat. Making that little extra effort, especially earlier in the day like Jane did, can make a surprising difference to how you feel. Give it a try. You know that feeling, when worries just seem to pile up, one after another, until you feel completely snowed under. It's more than just mentally tiring, isn't it? It drains you physically too. My friend George, he used to be terrible for it. Always wound up tight as a spring, fretting about this and that. He'd complain about headaches, couldn't sleep properly, always felt exhausted. That's what chronic stress does, you see. It keeps your body in a constant state of high alert, like you're always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. That burns through your energy reserves faster than anything. It can mess with your digestion, make your muscles ache, and just generally leave you feeling worn out before the day's even half done. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just digs you deeper into that hole of fatigue and tension. Thankfully, George found something that helped him. He learned a few simple deep breathing techniques. Sounds almost too simple, I know. But he started doing them for just 5 minutes whenever he felt the stress building up. He told me it was remarkable, how much calmer it made him feel, and how he wasn't so utterly exhausted by evening anymore. So, the lesson here is that we need ways to manage this stress. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe for you, it's getting out for a bit of fresh air, pottering in the garden, or losing yourself in a good book or a hobby. Sometimes just talking things over with someone you trust, whether it's family or a professional, can make all the difference. Don't let worry steal your energy. Find your own way to gently push it back. Alright, let's talk about some things that might be draining your get up and go without you even realizing it. First up, are you drinking enough water? It sounds simple, but it's so easy to forget. As we get older, our thirst signal isn't always reliable. Even being just a little dehydrated can make you feel sluggish, headachy, and just plain tired. My friend Margaret, who's 75, kept complaining about hitting a wall every afternoon. Turns out, she was barely drinking anything besides her morning tea. A simple fix: try keeping a water bottle nearby and take sips throughout the day. Every little bit counts. Another energy thief: sitting too much. Consider my neighbor Bill, 80 years old. He loves his armchair, but lately, just getting up is an effort, and short walks tire him out. It seems odd, but parking yourself for hours actually makes you more tired. Our bodies need movement to keep the energy flowing. When we sit too long, everything slows down, muscles weaken, and fatigue sets in. You don't need to train for a race. Just get up during TV adverts, walk around the house, or do a few gentle stretches. Break up that sitting time. Now, here's a big one, especially for us seasoned folks. Worrying. Take Brenda, 72. A dear soul, but she carries the weight of the world, fretting about everything. She spends so much mental energy worrying that she's often exhausted by noon, too drained to enjoy things. Constant stress is incredibly taxing, burning through your energy reserves like nobody's business. If this sounds like you, try talking things over with someone you trust. Sometimes just saying it aloud helps lift the burden, or try calming activities like reading or a gentle walk. Let's touch on food, specifically protein. Are you getting enough? It's vital for keeping our muscles strong as we age, and strong muscles mean more energy and better mobility. Without enough protein, you can feel weak and tire easily. I remember my Aunt Clara in her late 70s, living on mostly toast and tea. She became so weak and fatigued. Her doctor pointed out she needed more protein. So, try adding protein to each meal: eggs, fish, chicken, beans, yogurt. It makes a real difference. Finally, let's talk sleep schedules. Going to bed and waking up at drastically different times confuses your body's internal clock. This makes it harder to get quality sleep, leaving you feeling groggy and low on energy during the day, even if you slept for many hours. George, just turned 70, had this problem: late nights watching films one day, early starts the next. He always felt tired. Aim for consistency. Try to stick to a regular sleep and wake time, even on weekends. It helps regulate your body's natural rhythm for better energy. So there you have it. 5 common habits that might be quietly stealing your energy. Remember, it's often the small, consistent changes that make the biggest difference. Don't feel you had to tackle everything at once. Maybe pick one thing that resonated with you and start there. Here's to having more vim and vigor to enjoy all the good things life still has to offer. Take care of yourselves. Well, now, that about wraps things up for today's chat. Remember, feeling sluggish and tired all the time doesn't have to be our normal just because we've seen a few more birthdays. It really is possible to boost your energy levels and feel more alive each day. Making small, deliberate changes to our routines, those little healthy habits we talked about, can make such a surprising difference in fighting off fatigue and helping us stay active and involved in life. You know, like I was saying about that short walk after my midday meal. It seems like such a tiny thing, doesn't it? But truly, most days now, I don't get that heavy feeling in the afternoon where I just had to sit down. It gave me back a bit of my get up and go. And that's what healthy aging is all about, isn't it? Finding ways to make these years enjoyable and full. Living well now, being over 65, it's certainly achievable, but sometimes it helps to know you're not alone in figuring it all out. We can all learn from each other on how to age well, finding what works best for our own bodies and situations. Sharing our experiences really does make a difference. My neighbor Ethel, bless her, she's the one who suggested those simple stretches first thing in the morning. We often compare notes on what helps us feel better, whether it's a new recipe or just remembering to drink enough water. It makes embracing this stage of senior living feel more like a shared adventure. There's always something new to learn when it comes to looking after our health as we get older, more little health tips that can help. So, if you found today's discussion useful, please do click that like button below the video. It does help other folks find this information too, and I'd be thrilled if you'd subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'm hoping to share more things that have genuinely made a positive impact on my own well-being and kept me feeling more vibrant. What I'd really appreciate is hearing from you down in the comments section. Tell me, what's one small thing you might try after hearing our talk today? Or perhaps you have a favorite tip for keeping your energy up. Sharing your wisdom helps all of us. Okay then, that's it from me. Look after yourselves, stay curious, and keep putting one foot in front of the other towards those healthy habits. Until we chat again. What if I told you the biggest regrets many folks our age have aren't about money or careers, but something much closer to home, something we live with every single day? It's a quiet regret, one that often creeps up on us slowly. Hello there, lovely people. Today, let's delve into a topic that touches many of us, sometimes only in hindsight, the regret of letting our precious health gently slip away over time. I'm not talking just about avoiding major diseases, though that's important too. I mean those seemingly small daily habits we overlook, the ones that truly maintain our vitality as we age. Things like gentle exercise, drinking enough water, or not skipping those routine checkups. Why does this matter so much now? Because our physical well-being is directly tied to our independence, our mood, our very ability to savor life each day. Letting these small things slide can unfortunately lead to bigger problems down the road, limiting our freedom and dampening our spirits. It's truly about ensuring our comfort and peace of mind for the years ahead. I often think of my neighbor Frank, bless his heart. He was always putting off those simple knee exercises his doctor recommended, saying he was too busy relaxing. Now, in his late 70s, it's genuinely difficult for him to enjoy his beloved garden, and he relies quite a bit on his daughter. He confided in me recently, sighing, if only I'd listened 20 years ago. It's a common story, isn't it? So, in today's video, we're going to explore some easy, achievable ways to prioritize our health now, focusing on those small habits that make a big difference to our long-term well-being and independence. We'll cover practical tips you can start using today. If you find our chat helpful, do give the video a thumbs up. It really helps others find it. And please consider subscribing for more content designed just for us, helping us navigate these wonderful later years together. Another big regret many of us share as we get older is letting important relationships drift away. You know how it is. Life happens, children grow up and move away, careers take over, maybe we spend years caring for a loved one. Before you know it, years have passed since you really connected with old friends or even some family members. Take my dear friend Eleanor, for instance. She was absolutely devoted to her husband during his long illness, pouring every ounce of energy into caring for him. It was a truly loving thing to do, but after he passed, she found herself terribly alone. She confessed to me how much she regretted letting her old friendships wither during those years. She hadn't meant to, of course, life just got in the way. That isolation hit her hard. It's easy to underestimate how vital those connections are, isn't it? They're not just nice to have, they're crucial for keeping our spirits up and our minds sharp. Loneliness, you see, isn't just a sad feeling. It can genuinely affect our health, both mental and physical. Think of relationships like a garden. They need regular tending to flourish. You can't just plant the seeds and expect beautiful flowers without water and care. Thankfully, Eleanor decided to do something about it. It felt awkward at first, she said, picking up the phone after so long. But she pushed through that discomfort. She started making calls, sending little notes. Remember handwritten notes? They still mean so much. Slowly but surely, she rekindled some wonderful old friendships and even made some new ones. So, my advice is simple, though not always easy. Make a conscious effort. Don't wait for others to reach out. Pick up the phone today and call someone you've been meaning to talk to. Schedule a regular coffee date, or if distance is an issue, try a video call. Even a short message just to say, thinking of you, can make a world of difference. Don't let awkwardness or the time past stop you. Nurture those connections. It's one of the best investments you can make in your own happiness and well-being as you age. Another big regret many of us face as we get older is putting off those things we always dreamed of doing. You know, the hobbies or personal interests we kept pushing aside, always thinking, someday I'll get to that. Well, sometimes Sunday doesn't quite arrive the way we expect. I remember my old neighbor, Bill, very clearly. We used to chat over the fence quite often. He must have mentioned wanting to get into woodworking a dozen times. He even had the perfect spot for it in his garage, just waiting. But whenever I nudged him about it, he'd just sigh and shake his head, saying, "Oh, I reckon I'm too old to start learning something new like that now." He passed away a few years back, quite suddenly. His wife, bless her heart, was clearing out the garage and found this big cardboard box tucked away. Inside, stacks upon stacks of woodworking magazines he'd apparently been collecting for ages. She told me later, with tears in her eyes, how much she wished he'd just picked up a piece of wood and given it a try, even just once. It didn't matter if he was any good, just that he'd done it. It really makes you stop and think. Keeping our minds active and engaged with things we genuinely enjoy, whether it's learning a new skill or revisiting an old passion, it's so much more than just passing the time. It brings genuine joy, it can give us a real sense of purpose, especially after retirement, and it often connects us with other interesting people. Believing it's too late is simply a mindset, a trap that can rob us of potential happiness and growth right when we have the time to explore. Please, listen to an old-timer, don't let that happen to you. It is honestly never, ever too late. Maybe there's a local art class you thought about joining, or perhaps that old guitar is just gathering dust. Why not pick it up just for fun? You could finally start writing down your life story, or maybe tackle learning how these confusing computers work. Even volunteering a few hours counts as pursuing a passion. The important thing is to just start small. Do it for the sheer pleasure of it, not because you had to achieve anything grand. Just give it a try. You might surprise yourself. You know, I used to play bridge with a dear friend, Mary. Bless her heart, she could worry the stripes off a zebra. She'd fret constantly. Days before a picnic, she'd be checking the weather forecast every hour, convinced it would rain. If one of her grandkids got a little scrape on their knee, you'd think they needed major surgery the way she carried on. politics, the state of the world, what the neighbors were doing. It all became fuel for her worry engine. We'd be sitting there, trying to enjoy a cup of tea and a game, and you could just feel the cloud of anxiety hanging over her. It really put a damper on things sometimes. Later on, she told me herself how much precious time and energy she felt she'd wasted spinning her wheels over things that either never happened or were completely out of her hands. And Mary's story isn't unique, is it? So many of us fall into that trap, especially as we get older. We spend far too much energy worrying about what-ifs, or agonizing over decisions our children or grandchildren make, or stressing about finances beyond what practical planning can solve. This kind of chronic worry does more than just steal our joy in the present moment. It digs deep, it messes with our sleep, ties our stomachs in knots, and can even lead to headaches or high blood pressure. We get so caught up in the future anxieties or past regrets that we completely miss the simple good things happening right here, right now. That quiet cup of coffee in the morning, a sunny day, a phone call from a friend, they all get overshadowed. So, what can we do about it? Well, it takes practice, like strengthening any muscle. When you feel that worry creeping in, stop and ask yourself honestly, is there anything I can actually do about this situation right now? If the answer is no, try to gently guide your thoughts elsewhere. Maybe focus on your breathing for a minute or two, just a simple inhale and exhale. Step outside and notice the trees or the birds. Sometimes just acknowledging the worry, saying, "Hello worry, I see you," and then choosing not to engage with it, can help. And please, don't keep it all bottled up. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or even a professional. Sharing the load often makes it feel much lighter. Don't let worry rob you of today. Alright, let's talk about something that can weigh us down more than just about anything else as we get older. Holding on to grudges and resentments. You know, it reminds me of two brothers I knew from way back, regulars down at the old coffee shop. They had a big falling out over some business deal. Goodness knows what it even was after all that time. The important thing is, they stopped speaking. For nearly 30 years. Can you imagine that kind of silence? Living in the same town, maybe seeing each other across the street, and carrying that wall between them. Then, one of them got very sick. The other brother finally went to visit. And let me tell you, the regret hanging in that room was palpable. You could just feel the weight of all those wasted years, years that could have been filled with shared memories, laughter, support. But were instead filled with bitterness. They did manage to patch things up right at the end, thank goodness, but oh, the lost time. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Holding on to deep-seated anger, those old resentments and grudges, it feels like you're punishing the other person, but really, the heaviest burden falls on us. It poisons our own wellspring of joy, fosters a bitterness that can curdle even the sunniest day, and isolates us behind walls of our own making. It steals our peace of mind. We think forgiveness means letting the other person off the hook, but that's not always the heart of it. Often, forgiveness is about unlocking our own chains. It's about choosing to release the pain that's holding us captive, whether or not reconciliation is possible or even wise. So, if you find yourself weighed down by an old hurt, try shifting your perspective. Think of letting go not as excusing their actions, but as freeing yourself. Perhaps talking it through could help, with a trusted friend, a spiritual advisor, or a counselor who understands these things. Sometimes, just the act of writing down all those tangled feelings in a letter, even if you never send it, can provide immense relief. And if the situation allows and it feels safe, maybe, just maybe, reaching out with a simple, honest word could begin to mend that fence and lighten your load considerably. So, we've talked about those common regrets people sometimes have later in life. But here's the really good news. While we can't rewind the clock, today and tomorrow are still ours to shape. It's almost never too late. One common regret is wishing we'd stayed more active body and mind. It's vital because moving keeps us independent and energized, while mental engagement keeps us sharp and prevents stagnation. Neglecting this quickens decline and dims our enjoyment of life. Take my neighbor Arthur, 81. He thought he was too old for technology, but now he emails friends on a tablet his grandkids gave him. He's much brighter for it. So, the advice is simple. Don't dismiss small steps. A daily walk, trying a new puzzle. Just pick something small that interests you and begin. I think of my friend Carol. She carried a grudge against her sister for decades over something minor. It caused so much stress. When they finally reconciled, years later, the relief was immense, but she deeply regretted the wasted time and worry. Her story really shows how holding on to anger or letting connections fade weighs us down and impacts our health. Letting go brings peace, reaching out fights loneliness. So, maybe just send a short text to someone you miss. Or talk through a worry instead of letting it fester. Small acts of connection or forgiveness really do lighten the load. Finally, it's about living intentionally right now. It's not about past perfection, none of us had that. It's realizing today is a gift and choosing how to use it, rather than just letting days drift by. Actively seeking small joys or moments of peace makes these later years richer. Think of my friend Margaret, 75. She started a simple morning ritual: coffee in her garden, just noticing the birds for 10 minutes. She says it sets a positive tone for her whole day. It's about consciously choosing these small things. So, ask yourself each morning, what's one small thing today for my own peace or happiness? Maybe listen to a favorite song or call a friend. Just choose something deliberate. Living with fewer regrets moving forward is simply about making the most of right now. Let's try to fill these days with connection, peace, and joy. Shall we? Well now, that brings us toward the end of our chat for today. Thinking about regrets, it's not always the easiest thing to sit with, is it? But honestly, acknowledging those feelings is the first step towards making sure we don't collect too many more as we go along. The real key, I think, is less about dwelling on the past and more about focusing our energy on the right now, on making today and tomorrow count. You know, it's funny, when you talk to folks my age, the regrets often aren't about the big spectacular failures. More often, it's the quieter things. Not spending quite enough time with the grandkids because something else seemed important. Putting off that trip, thinking there'd always be a next year. Forgetting to tell people how much they truly mean while you have the chance. I had a neighbor, bless her heart, who always wanted to learn the piano. Said she'd start when she retired. Then she said she'd start when the house was sorted. She never did get around to it, and I know it bothered her deep down. It's a small example, perhaps, but it reminds me that life really is made up of these nows. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Learn that thing, make that call, take that walk, whatever brings you a little spark of joy or connection, lean into it. These years truly can be golden, but sometimes we need to do a little bit of the polishing ourselves, don't we? Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It means a great deal. I hope you found something useful, or at least something to ponder. Until we meet again, please do take very good care of yourselves. Bye for now.